What's good, guys? It's TSG, and I am so gassed for today's guest. Today, we're going to be talking to Volkin about his nomination for the Illuvinati Council. I really hope you guys enjoy this one. What's good, guys? It's TSG, and today we're going to be talking to Volkin, one of the nominees for the current Illuvium election. How's it going, man?
Yeah, good dude, good dude. Appreciate you having me on. And while I've just got a minute, I just want to say, behind the scenes, we were just having a chat, and this man's telling me about his routine working 2 full-time jobs, squeezing this in an hour between jobs. Give this guy a sub, give it a like, and get around him because it's the effort that counts. Man, so I appreciate you doing it, man.
No, I appreciate that as well, man. I actually wasn't expecting that, so thank you for that. All right.
No dramas.
Cool. So yeah, I don't know if you have watched any of the other interviews that I've done, and I don't expect you to, which is fine. But the whole thing that I'm trying to do is I'm trying to ask each of the nominees the same questions to try and make it a fair playing field. That way, us as voters can kind of see exactly what your thought process is on specific topics, and we can kind of vote on where we think what we think aligns most with what our vision for Illuvium is. Yeah. So we're gonna start with some easy questions, and this is gonna get hard. They're not harder, but more specific as we go on. Yeah, cool. Easy, man. So just to start off, something very, very easy, something basic. How long have you been in the Illuvium community for? And second part, what is it about Illuvium that's made you stick around? Because there's a lot of jumping around in projects, and obviously you've been here you've stuck around. So why is that?
Yep. So I think I joined the Discord I think it was April last year, so really early on.
Yeah.
But that was when I didn't really know anything about crypto. I just started finding out NFTs, and then somehow I got onto Illuvium, joined the Discord, and then I was like, oh, this looks cool. So I did what I do with a lot of games through mobile gaming, content creation, all that stuff, where I just jumped in the Discord and I saw they had character leaks. So I'd just come back once a month and look at that. I didn't understand the token. I didn't understand any of that. So I missed out on the $30, $40 Illuvium token. And then it wasn't until later on, probably July, August. I think it was August. I converted one of the channels that I had, 4,000 subscribers. I converted it into a Illuvium and crypto gaming type channel, and that's when I started getting really deep into it. Because then I'd learnt more. I wasted some money on Axie to figure out the play to earn space. I actually profited on that in 2 weeks, so that wasn't too bad. But then I just went, okay, so Illuvium. It was a game that I was looking at playing before I understood play to earn, because I was like, I love Pokemon. I'd always wanted an open world Pokemon. Obviously, they've got it now, but it was like at the time when I found Illuvium, I was like, that's exactly what I want. And then once I started getting more into the crypto space and understanding play to earn, that was like, okay, now this is a thing. And then especially when you look at other games and you look at tokenomics and how they're just doomed to go down forever. And then you look at the scarcity brought in by Illuvium and that whole collecting aspect on top of gaming. That's basically what made me stick around, and that's pretty much the main gist.
Yeah. I think that is like the key thing for most people, right? We kind of come into it, and then the more we learn about it, we're just like, yo, this is where it's at. This is going to be where it's at. All right, cool. So the second question, man, moving on is, you didn't nominate yourself this is the first time you've nominated yourself, correct?
Correct. Yeah. I last Epoch, I was like, I'm not going to nominate myself because I was like, there's a conflict of interest because I was a YouTuber.
Yep.
And then once I looked at it, I'm like, fuck, there's a conflict of interest in anyone that applies. And I was like, my conflict of interest is that if Illuvium does well, then YouTube is going to do better for me.
Yeah.
So like there is not such a conflict. It's more aligned.
Yeah.
And so then I was like, okay, this one I'll run for. So that's why I nominated myself in this one.
Awesome. Yeah. Because the question I was going to ask you was, why did you nominate yourself? Which you just answered. And the second part was, and you being a YouTuber, how do you think you can represent? What are your plans to represent the community? Like, how are you gonna look at it? Are you trying to be more? Are you trying to see it from the team side? Just represent the community completely? Like, where's your mind at with that?
So I have an interesting thought on the council. Like, I think the council is more of a sort of a control group. I can't think of the name. Like, you get groups of people. I can't remember the name of it.
Is it a sample group?
No, I can't think of the name. Accountability group.
Right.
So it feels like more of accountability group than like an authority figure, if that makes sense. Like it's more like you're there not to make big decisions on the finer things. Like, so I feel like things like, you know, art, game mechanics, like those are things that you have specialized people to do that stuff. You know what I mean? They're the experts. Like when you've got people that look at analytics and look at marketing, they're going to know better than someone on the council who's not specialized in that stuff. So I feel like the council is more accountability to one, that they're not going to try and rug everyone, which if they rug at this stage, it's a fucking good rug and they deserve every cent. Number two is that they just, you don't do anything that massively goes against the feel of the community. So like to me, and also on the council, like you've got guys like I did an interview with Santiago, and like that dude's like incredibly smart. So he brings a whole different layer. So my layer would be more the community and just filtering, like mainly filtering really scummy decisions, which I don't think there'll be any of those, and then just relaying what the community wants, but also letting the team go because, like I said, they know what they're doing. So just let them have the freedom whilst representing the community.
Yeah, no, that's fair. That's fair. Completely fair. All right, cool, man. So we're gonna start moving into some of the more specific questions now. The first one is there's been a discussion over time about the ability to claim RevDis as SILV2. What are your thoughts on that? Are you for or against? And what effect do you think that's going to have on the DAO as a whole?
So this is one that's interesting to me because like I'm still like I said, I only got more into crypto about 6 to 8 months ago. So I'm not like the genius crypto person. So I'd have to like find out more of what impacts it has, because people talk about, you know, the token getting too expensive and then people don't want to buy in because it's too expensive. And then some people talk about, you know, but then you become a meme coin and it's like, you know, I mean, everyone has a different opinion. For me, I think it's a good thing to be able to do that. So I look at it from a gamer's perspective. So the whole thing with Illuvium, when I came in and I saw the staking, I'm like, this is fucking genius, because if a player comes into the space, we're not just talking about investors, a player, and they go, okay, maybe I'll spend $300 on Illuvium across this year. If they set aside 150 and put it into staking, it sounds like jack shit to most people that are in the space now investing, whatever the number may be. But if they can get that trickle feed and then actually just use that and instantly put it back into the game without having to pay fees. So if there's a way on Immutable that, you know, you can not have to claim it as like if you say you can't claim it as SILV, you have to claim it as ILV. If there's a way, like I don't know if there's a specific DEX on Immutable, I haven't looked too far into it, but if there's a way on Immutable that you can claim it as ILV, sell it, and then use it as cash in the game to keep your process going, then I'd be cool with not having it claimed as SILV too. I just want a way for gamers, even if they haven't put in a heap of money, that they can stake and not pay fees in using that staking reward to be able to then continue to play. I think that's like a fantastic feature where it's like, if you show belief and you're going to play long term, you stake that instead, and eventually you get more money out of it than what you would have just spent if you were spending it.
Yeah, cool.
If that makes sense.
Yeah, 100%.
So either way, I don't care. Like, if there is no way to do that, then I'd probably want to be able to claim it as SILV too. Because then the players can just use that money straight in.
Correct.
As for the whole optics of it and shit, I don't know psychology on that level, so that's someone else's decision to make. But I just want gamers to have the opportunity to have that pathway.
Yeah, cool. Man, I think that actually... Going back to like who you represent, obviously it sounds like it's the community and the gamers, because even like your thought process there, everyone else, not everyone, but a majority of everyone else was talking about the tokenomics, whereas your mind went to what's going to be accessible for the player. So that's interesting. That's very interesting. It's a good insight to have. All right, man. So we know that the last Epoch was slightly quieter on the front end of things in regards to proposals and whatnot. What do you think, whether you get in or not, what do you think should be the priority for the council in this coming Epoch?
I think, well, obviously the things we spoke about earlier is like, you know, representing the community and stuff like that. Something that I'd really like to see, like in terms of council, it's like, it's funny because we're coming up to the launch of the game. So it's a busy Epoch. So I think the council isn't perfect. I think everyone can agree that. And I think it's something that will never be perfect and will always need iterations. However, I don't think this is the epoch to like restructure the council. I think it's a good epoch to start putting things in place by the council in the backgrounds, but nothing that involves the team. I just think like if you like, I think 2 epochs ago, I looked at it. I'm like, everything that was getting voted on, and they were doing like live chats on Discord and stuff like that had like Kieran and stuff like, and I'm like, they're using the team's time, and everything in that epoch was just about changes to the council. Was like, the council's pay, salary, and then the council, and then it was like I can't remember, but I was just like, it's all reformatting the council, but it's using the team's time. Like, let's just get the fucking game out. And like, but so you like, I think yes, in the background, work on stuff like that, but nothing that's going to involve time from the team, because like, I think we all just want the game out. And like initiatives, like I don't think this is so much of just like a council thing, but I think working out a better way, or just being present, even if it's just for the interim, like the council setting up a section in Discord where it's not so much like, because we've got the IIP section, and it's just confusing when you try and do it. But I feel like just a general discussion, more open discussion section where people, maybe it's like I've seen it in other Discords where it's like a formatted approach where you've got to do like a /command and it puts yours as a suggestion, and then people can upvote, downvote it. Now, I think eventually I can't remember, because they had that live ages ago, but Kieran was talking about maybe making it as an integration into the website. But I don't know if that's coming. But if not, like the council can do that through Discord just to make it easier to communicate ideas and discuss ideas between players and stuff like that. So I think that's the main sort of thing. It's more being involved and easier communication with the community at this stage. Like I said, I do think down the road, changes to the council and the structure of it, but not to be actioning on it right now while we're trying to get the game out and wasting time on the team.
Yeah, fair play. And it sounds like the thing that you mentioned about the whole upvote, downvote being on the website, I'm pretty sure that Kieran did just mention that in Venomor's last interview about his council nomination. He did bring that up. So
okay, yeah. So because I'm thinking back like 4 months ago, he did a live chat on Discord, and he was like, "Yeah, that's probably something we'll do."
Yeah, so we brought that up again, yesterday, because they did that interview yesterday. So it is something that they're obviously looking on. And I think that they mentioned that governance section is pretty much, the UI is all done there. So that's ready to be gone once they kick that live. So that's
perfect.
Yeah, so I'm excited to see what happens there. All right. So next question, man. What do you, again, we discussed the kind of less busy epoch that we just had. In regards to just future epochs and whatnot, do you think we should be extending the period of the epochs? Why or why not?
Honestly, I'm very impartial to that. I don't really care. I think at the moment it becomes an issue because I still think like they don't have a community manager or someone to do that role at the moment. So like once there's someone who's in the space and that's their role to do this sort of stuff, it won't take away time. So at the moment, I think it's a bit like I can't even think of the word, but a bit time wasting because the team's organizing it and we're coming up to a launch and it's annoying. But 3 months, if you've got someone that, it's scheduled, post, they run it all, it's all done back behind. It doesn't really bother me. 6 months, I guess it would be 3 or 6 months would be the two options. I couldn't care less if it was 6 months. It really doesn't bother me, to be fair.
Yeah, no, that's fair. All right.
It'd be more one of those things that would be good just to put a poll out and go, what do you guys think? Are you guys sick of voting every 3 months, or do you want to rotate it faster?
Right. Yeah, because I think it's going to be it is a thing that's being discussed as well regarding if it is like to try and get more community engagement. Asking the community members to vote every 3 months might be too much, whereas asking them to ask twice a year might be better. But like you said, I think the best solution for that is just putting out a poll and let the community speak for themselves. And then we can kind of go off that. Yeah. All right. So the last question I have specifically about the council in general is right now we have a council of 5 members. Again, these are all discussions that we've had. What I'm going to ask you is about extending the council. We've had the discussion, should we extend it? And the second part to that question is, again, Kieran being on the team now, there have been discussions about maybe allocating a certain role for certain seats. For example, number one being it needs to be a team member or a founder. a seat needs to be allocated to a content creator that represents the community, so on and so forth, guilds, ideas like that. So what are your thoughts on that? Extending the council plus allocated seats. What do you reckon?
This is another one where it really doesn't faze me because I don't think there's been a situation where the council has had such a hard decision where it's like we need to have more people to come to the correct decision. Like I don't think there's been any like I haven't been in there, but it doesn't look like there's been anything that big where it's like, oh, like we can't just have 5 people making this decision.
Yeah.
As for specific roles, I don't think you need specific roles, but it would be nice to spread it out. Like I said, like I see it as more of an accountability group. So like, but on the other side, like I said with Santiago, if having more people in the council that bring value outside of just being a council member, if you can squeeze more people in that brings more value to the DAO itself, then that's a good thing. I don't know if it's necessary. I don't think it's necessary. But yeah, I think having set like, did you say like set positions for like a content creator in a guild? I don't think that's necessary. I think, if people want something like that, then they get voted in anyway. I think having set positions, say you've got like a set position for a content creator, and people like, but I don't like any of these content creators. Like you're all shit. Like, well, then you don't get in. Like you don't want to have to force them to put one of those people in those positions.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's the way I look at it. Like until we get to a stage like, and I know you don't want to be doing it after the fact, but I just don't see anything in the near future where it's like, shit, we've only got 5 council members. How are they going to make that decision? They're going to destroy it. You know what I mean? That's the way I look at it.
Somewhat like if it's not broken, no need to fix it. And so it doesn't seem broken right now. Everything seems like it's working. Like as
I think there's other things in the background of the council operation that do need fixing, like we said earlier, like the processes.
Yeah.
But having said that, I don't think that the amount of council members and the allocation of where they have to come from is an issue.
Yeah. No, that's fair. That's fair. All right, man. So honestly, we've got 2 questions left. One question,
sick,
a bit more again direct, and then I've got a fun question just to end it off with. So the second last question that I have is, if you had to champion a specific proposal, it doesn't need to be this epoch, it can be any epoch. If you could champion one proposal, what would that be?
I honestly don't have one. Like, I don't see anything that's desperate in need of like, I need to get this in the game right now. Like, because at the moment, everything that's getting put through is more on the crypto side, and I'm more on the gaming and community side. So like, until the game's out and we see what's happening, like, I'm not like seeing any like vital flaws. The only thing, like I said earlier, but it sounds like from what you said, Kieran said with Vetemore, I'll have to watch that one, that they've got the website ready. Like, that was my big thing, like a feedback zone where it's like, because I've seen, like, I've played in a lot of other games where they have really good like feedback portals where, like, you know, you put your feedback, and then under it, like, it gets saved, and then under it, like, people can add comments to it, and you can like, the main thing, you can upvote or downvote, and then like in certain communities, it's like, once, depending on the size of the game, once it gets to 100, once it gets to 1,000, however many upvotes, then it gets put in front of the team. Like the developers to, you know, implement it. But like, that's the one thing that I see at this stage that I would really like. But it sounds like that's already going through. So like, besides that, you know what I mean? There's nothing else that I'm like, oh, I have to get this in. If I see someone post something that looks really good and I'm like, that's a really good idea, then I'll be like, let's get behind this. But besides that, I mean, we just want the game, dude.
Yeah, honestly, the one thing that I'm kind of getting from this chat already is that you're definitely a man for the gamers and like the community members and that side of thing. You're not really, your top priority isn't the tokenomics and the finances. It is definitely is the gaming thing, which is the first that I've had in all these interviews. It's refreshing. All right, cool. So the final question, man, a little fun question. We know that the next game, Illuvium is a studio, and the next game is going to come from a proposal. If it was up to you, selfishly and for the good of the DAO, 2 options. What genre of games would you want to see next?
Oh fuck, this is a good one.
Yeah, it is a good one.
I have I have many thoughts on what I would like.
Yeah.
This one kind of melds in the two. Like, I know a lot of people just say MOBA. I'll probably get some hate, but I don't like League of Legends. I don't like the MOBA. I just don't like click to that position to move.
Yeah.
Like I played WoW for years and years, and I love WoW MMO controls as opposed to League of Legends controls. Like that's just me. So I know a lot of people in chats are always like, "Oh, MOBA." I'm like, "Fuck a MOBA," but I think with where the game's at, with the open world gameplay, we've seen Grant running around, jumping around. You've got the dart gun and stuff.
Yeah.
I'm thinking like a action RPG, third person like action RPG, but like you don't just have guns. So like obviously like I feel like the game, when we look at Grant playing like that, I'm like, all you got to do is have that dart gun and just make it shoot players, and you've got a shooter.
Yeah.
But I think an action RPG where you use the same weapons, so like you could have a gun, you got the pistol, and you could have that as your weapon, and then you got all your abilities, but then you got your like alluvial pet.
Mm-hmm.
That runs around with you, and you can swap out your alluvial that's active, or maybe some of them just come up in a supportive role. Like maybe you get a tank out and it like puts a like shield around you, and like they protect. So like, but action RPG, so like then you've got your sword, so someone else is running around with a sword, and I think like a good example of something is like Genshin Impact. If you've seen that, I don't know if you've seen it.
Yeah, I've seen it. Yeah.
People can look it up, but like that sort of action RPG type feel. But then you've also got ranged classes, all that sort of stuff, and your pet alluvials. I think that would be fucking sick.
Yeah.
I would definitely get all around that. As for what would be best for the DAO, that would take more research.
Okay, yeah.
Into like, what like control groups and finding out what people want to play at the moment, what's pop. Like I feel like when you're looking at best for DAO, you're looking at revenue, and that's what would govern that. I don't have that info, but yeah, for what I'd want, action RPG type thing would be sick.
That's interesting, because I honestly because I'm not a fan of shooters, but the way you described that, if we did have that open, and I just thought about like what you were saying, it'd be cool if you had like your NFT, your alluvials giving like passive abilities. So yeah, like you said, like a tank can take away some damage. A Ramfire could come down and deal damage when you're on low health, and just these different things. It just adds a different element to that shooter or that action RPG. So I think that's a sick idea, actually.
Yeah.
All right, man. Honestly, so that was all for the questions. Thank you so much for your time. I've obviously watched your videos, and I appreciate what you've done. Is there anything that you kind of want to close out with for the election, for your channel? Just a plug, anything? Not that you need a plug, to be honest.
Not really. Once again, just sub to this man, give him some support. Like I said, that chat we had before, like it reminds me of the shit that I was doing when I was working full time and doing content. So like I have massive respect for it. So keep up the good work, dude.
Yeah, honestly, thank you so much. All right, cool. So for everyone else, thank you guys for watching. I hope you guys enjoyed it. If you did, like, subscribe, hit the notification bell. You guys know the drill. And I'll catch you guys next time. Peace.